Most popular opinions.
Alright guys.
That's right, it is Nerf season for Hearthstone. Now the nerfs aren't happening too soon.
Naga Sea Witch.
Man, this is a wild card.
Naga costs 8 from 5.
Naga Sea Witch will now cost 8 mana. What?
It costs 3 more mana than before.
So this is one of the biggest mana nerfs I've ever seen in a card. Is it the biggest one ever?
Why would you do that?
Someone actually made a paid ad on Reddit to get this card nerfed.
So I'm happy to see this happening, but this should have happened like half a year ago.
And that's probably fine.
Nobody plays Wild anyway.
Costing 3 more mana doesn't actually kill the card just because of its impact is so insane and wild.
Anyways, it's now probably terrible and wild.
I don't care about that, right?
So just nerf it, alright? Just do it.
But now to the standard cards, the cards I am more excited about.
Spiteful Summoner.
He is going to cost 1 more mana.
I will cost 7 mana from 6.
I'm happy to see the card changing. The card is way too good for 6 mana.
And so that's cool.
The Druid deck already is still very strong.
Was hovering around 2nd or 3rd place in the best decks in Standard right now.
I mean, that's whatever, right? I don't like that deck, so I wouldn't mind it being completely nerfed to dust.
I'm not the biggest fan of the mana cheating minions in the way of playing a 6 mana guard, get a 10 mana card.
When you can play a 16/16 on turn 6, that's pretty crazy.
Nerfing Spiteful to 7 mana is a huge hit to the deck. It, makes it a lot easier to answer Spiteful Summoner with a Twisting Nether.
The difference between turn 6 and turn 7 is not a huge one, especially considering that Spiteful decks, particularly Spiteful Druid.
The card might still get played for 7 mana.
You'll get 7 mana 12/12 or 7 mana 16/16.
It makes it a lot easier for aggro decks to just kill the Spiteful Druid deck before they get their big power spike turn.
And the Spiteful Druid baseline is still powerful enough.
I expect Spiteful Druid to be like tier 2 at best, as opposed to I would say it's kind of tier 1 right now.
This card is still going to be absolutely insane.
Spiteful Druid's still going to see play.
It's still going to be really good, guys. It's still going to be one of the best decks.
I'm definitely happy to see this nerf.
Dark Pact.
Dark Pact will now be healing for 4 instead of 8. That's a pretty big...
That's like... That's so bad.
Not being able to heal for as much.
That's like, this nerf alone makes Warlock so terrible already.
Dark Pact was not for me the biggest like necessary card to get nerfed.
Aggressive decks will probably not counter Control Warlock, but they'll probably counter Q Block.
These nerfs target those Warlock decks in a way that really helps aggressive strategies, but doesn't help late game strategies.
Which will make it a lot more viable for aggressive decks to beat down the Q block or the control lock.
Decks that are aggressive and smorky just have a much better chance to kill Warlock.
But it's just not enough, right?
It's just a huge nerf.
Another nerf.
Possessed Lackey is also going to cost 1 more mana.
5 mana to 6 mana, a really big deal.
That is a big nerf.
That's a big deal because quite a lot of these aggro decks could threaten to kill the opponent.
And that's a huge nerf.
Warlock wasn't so broken.
You often can't just play Possessed Lackey, and that's because everybody runs Silence.
Playing a 1 mana nerf on a card like this is very big.
Costing 1 more mana means Warlocks have to stay alive an extra turn before basically doing anything.
Really happy, don't like the card, very not fun card to play.
That said though, it is still very strong to pull out a 9 mana card on a 6 mana minion.
I think Warlock will not play this card anymore.
I don't think it's going to kill the deck, but it's certainly not going to be one of the best decks in the game right now.
But anyways, I don't think Q block and control lock are dead.
But Warlock will still be very strong.
Now, I don't see Q block and control lock that oppressive compared to some of the other decks people are playing right now, notably Aggro Paladin.
And then a very big and interesting nerf.
Call to Arms will cost 5 mana.
Perhaps my favorite nerf of all time.
Really?
One of the strongest cards ever printed.
The most broken card ever.
Basically, everybody with a brain knew this card was broken.
A huge nerf, a huge nerf.
I feel like Call to Arms may actually be the strongest card in the history of Hearthstone.
Finally nerfed. This is pretty big.
So it seems Blizzard is also pretty sensible in their nerfs.
Why is this such a huge nerf?
You know, getting 1-drops and 2-drops on turn 5 is actually kind of a lot worse, because that's when almost every class can have board clears against you.
I'm sure even Paladin would love to play Call to Arms at 5 still, but it can't because now it's odd.
Guess I don't know what to put into my odd paladin anymore.
You can't play an even paladin anymore.
And I think this is the end for even Paladin.
I think even paladin may go from the best deck in Hearthstone to worse than tier 2.
The problem for Odd Paladin is, yes, you can play this 5 mana card, but you're only gonna summon 1 mana cards.
Odd Paladin didn't get nerfed at all by this. I don't think Odd Paladin will use Call to Arms at 5 mana.
It will still maybe get played in like Control Paladin.
And one of the best Paladin decks right now is Murloc Paladin.
Murloc Paladin maybe instead will rise in play.
Murloc Paladin might still play it.
Because Murloc Paladin has kind of similar win rates, and it does use Call to Arms, obviously. Every deck uses Call to Arms.
Lately, one of the best Paladin versions has been Murloc Paladin.
I guess Murloc Paladin will be the deck to go for if you want to play Paladin right now, right?
And Call to Arm nerf does not affect Murloc Paladin in too big of a way.
At 5 mana, I think it's still probably quite good. I think it might even be powerful enough to see some play at 6 mana.
Still a very good card, and archetype would still exist.
So I really, really like this nerf.
Finally, we have
Quest Rogue nerf.
It is the caverns below.
The effect of completing the Rogue quest is now going to be your minions are 4/4.
This card was nerfed twice.
second nerf to Quest Rogue.
It was nerfed 2 times.
I think it's actually the first card that Blizzard is now nerfing for the 2nd time.
That said,
Is that a big deal? No, it is not. I believe Quest Rogue is going to continue.
So, and also with cards like Valira, Zalae that will generate infinite value.
4/4s are much smaller than 5/5, so it's quite a significant nerf.
Now that Anduin cannot remove the whole board anymore.
But the point is, once you complete the quest, game is kinda over. What did this nerf really accomplish?
It's still very strong.
So the Quest Rogue, it's a pretty big nerf, but it may not change the deck's matchups that much.
I don't actually think this kills the Quest Rogue. Still a valid tech option. Still probably going to see play in tournaments. So what's going to happen with this change?
And we'll be seeing a little bit less Spiteful Druid and Spiteful Priest, I guess. But again, not that much less.
Yet significant enough to take the tier 1 decks down to tier 2?
I think these changes are not going to change the game too much. Big Mage is going to see a bit of an improvement.
Okay, how do we beat Mage now? Mage is gonna be so strong. It's gonna suck. Such a bad deck.
Quest Control Warrior, the deck that I hit Legend with, I think is going to be significantly better because
Maybe Control Priest?
Very happy.
So, in summary, I'm very happy with these balance changes, these nerfs.
Very happy to see these nerfs coming. The right cards got nerfed.
I invite you to take part in the Streamers Battle and determine the champion of card reviews. Choose your favorite. At the end of the season, we will find out who makes the most accurate predictions. Thank you so much for your support. And to all my subscribers with closed accounts, I don't know your nicknames, but thanks. Perhaps you will find something interesting here.
Here are some suggestions.
Job's done.